How does a child get paid out in a medical malpractice case? If a child is the one who's been injured by medical malpractice and receives monies in a settlement, Maryland law is pretty clear about how those monies have to be paid out. So let's review the law together. When a child receives money, the child cannot get money in his or her own name. Instead, that money has to be paid out in what's called a Maryland Title 13 trust account. And what does that look like? So after the case is resolved and the settlement checks are cut, the parents usually have to go to the bank with the child and open up what's called a Title III account. Now, this is a special protected trust account, and that money has to be put into that account until the child is 18. Why is that? Well, there has to be safeguards so that the child's money will be protected. A child cannot get money in his or her name, as I said before, and so that money has to remain in a Title 13 trust account. Now, what happens if there is a need for that money? Let's give an example. Suppose the child needs physical or occupational therapy services, and the parents would like to use that money to pay for that. They can't go to the bank and just take the money out themselves. Instead, what has to happen is they have to go to the court and ask the court for permission to use the money for those services. And if the court approves it, usually what happens, the court will ask that that money be directly sent to the physical therapist or the occupational therapist in this example, and not paid to the parents directly to pay the physical therapist or the occupational therapist. And this is really to protect the child. This goes back many years when, in fact, it's an interesting story. It came from the Little Rascals. And for those of you who are old enough to remember that, this was a show that was way back in the 1920s. And the children, their money was taken from them. They were child actors. And so there was a law that was passed, and it's nationwide, which protects children and their money so that no one can take their money and use it for something that's not for their own purposes. So that was just an interesting fact about how this even came to be. But I'll be doing some other videos on how you can use the money even after the child is 18, and some safeguards you can use that, because you wouldn't want a child to have that money at age 18 and blow it all. And also, I'm going to tell you some disturbing stories about what happens when parents swindle their children out of money and what recourse a child can have for that. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you can take advantage of all of my videos. My name is Frank Spector. I'm a medical malpractice lawyer in Maryland and in DC. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again on a future video.